Hey everyone, and welcome to the next part of this data relay. This is the Integration Quest MuleSoft study group, and we're bringing in Diane again. She's going to take us through part 2 of what we worked on last week, or what she worked on last week, and we're following along. I've been throwing those links out if you missed part 1, and we'll go over that in just a second. I'm just going to go over a couple things like we always do and turn it over to her. Glad to have you back here today with us. Thank you for being here, everybody in the chat and hanging out with us. Everybody's been doing great with the code of conduct, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. If everybody just keeps on doing that, we'll just keep rolling right past that screen, won't we? The library, this is where I've been sharing the part 1. If you missed it, you can go here to the links, check it out. We've got a new subscriber. I was just checking it out. I'm just always glad to see that. We hope that this is helping you all. If ever you have an idea of something that you want done, some kind of video, some kind of study group, maybe you want to just get sharpened up on a thing that you're working on, ask us, let us know. We do special requests. There's like living proof out there that we do it, and we will get it done. We've got people that can come in and present, and I'll be happy to be your host for it. So just let us know, put it in the comment, and we'll try to make it happen. So like I said, we have Diane here. She's been doing this for quite a while and has lots of credentials and certificates and training and expertise. But it's not just all about that. It's the fact that she's willing to come and give back and share with us and learn with us and do everything that she does. And we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Everybody help me give her a warm welcome. And I'm going to turn it over to her so we can start following through on part 2 of this data relay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And great to be here. So yeah, we are continuing on with the data relay. we kind of got it done last week, didn't we? We kind of slid in sideways and made it happen. I was pretty impressed.
It happened. If anybody watches that video and they weren't here for the live, they're going to be like, what was the problem? But I did have to edit a little bit out. These things happen. It's real life. So, we'll see what happens in real life today. And I may have to take a few things out, but don't worry about it. Don't stress it, like you do, because it happens. These things need to be troubleshot sometimes. All right.
For sure. But that's our world, especially it always is kind of makes me laugh when we're approaching something that's like, we've done it several times and it's going to be just smooth as can be. And it's not, so it's like, you just never know. You never know. So, hey, Evan, great to see you in here. So here is our agenda, as you know, where this is a data relay. It was kind of a vision idea that I had, and it came about in Dreaming in Data that I actually delivered the workshop, or I with others. Ryan Hay had done the MuleSoft part. I did the part 2 that we're going to do today. And then I had other experts in Tableau and Slack that did the remaining pieces. And so I put out a request for them to participate. And I still am waiting to hear back for sure from them. But nonetheless, we'll continue on anyway. But we might make a few changes. We have part 2 today, and we're likely going to do part 4. RJ, what's the date on that? 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, that'll be 2 weeks from now. I'm entering in everything as we speak. So yeah, it's going to be, let me go back to that really quick and I'll give you the exact. It'll be 3rd of July.
Oh, wow. 3rd of July. Okay.
So yeah. So, like is June 12th. And then you're saying Slack for June the 19th. And then right after that would be somebody else. And then we'd have July the 3rd open, if that's okay. Or,
okay.
Things are flexible. Let me know.
Yeah. So at any rate, we might change this up a little bit. And the reason that may happen, so thank you, RJ, I appreciate that. The reason that may happen is Slack is dependent upon our API. And I'm trying not to make us have to redo the API on account of the trial accounts. That's the main thing I'm targeting here. Tableau actually connects directly to our database to pull its data. So it will be fine regardless. At any rate, so that's our game plan. That's what we're aiming to do. So what did we do thus far? Now we got as far as the life cycle of the API. So we managed that, but we went really pretty quick through that. So I want to review this to go over what actually happened there, we took and we had a pre-built API. And that API, or I should say pre-built specification. So we use that specification in Anypoint Code Builder to take and publish that specification to Exchange. Okay, so we took and we published this to Exchange. And then in addition, like we can view the code here, and the code is OAS, and it has also the details in it, the specifications needed to support our agent in Agentforce. So that's what's different about OAS and why we're using OAS and this specification that was pre-built for us. So I wanted to take a minute to like review that and the importance of it. And when we published this to Exchange, it also was pre-tagged for SF API Catalog and SF API Topic, meaning that it will now, when we're going to go to the next phase, and we're going to integrate with Salesforce, this asset or any asset that you have in your Anypoint Platform account that is tagged with SF API Catalog will populate that API over into Salesforce. And that's what you're going to see today. One other thing I wanted to share, once we got this published to Exchange, then we in turn deployed our application in Runtime Manager. Now we did this super fast. And so again, I want to like just focus a little bit of time on what actually happened here. And so we took an application that I previously had created. Here is that application. You can take that jar file that's in the shared folder that I gave you, and we can add the links to the comments down below in the on YouTube. And what this application is based on a local version of the API so that everyone can use it. So it's structured a little differently than if you were using if you populated your API by way of Exchange. So it's a little different setup. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I'll be glad to cut a video to explain the differences. But this is how, in our case, to have a jar file that has an API specification in it that is not already connected to an asset in Exchange, into someone else's Exchange, then you have to kind of sanitize it. And so this API is sanitized. And so what I mean by that, if I look at the YAML of it, it doesn't have an association with a particular Exchange identifier. Okay. And so in here, if you remember when I was testing it, I was like, wait a minute, it won't, it's requiring client ID and client secret. Why? Because this one's set up already with the security elements in it. And so as a result of that, it already applied that it was requiring, client ID and client secret. And so that's where it would not move forward because of the client ID and client secret. And honestly, when we were deploying it at first and I was testing it, I had forgotten about this, that we already had the code snippet as a result of our policy that we added in Exchange. So anyway, just wanted to kind of review that a little bit. So it was already pre-built, and I got an email from one of our team members that are in the study group, and his name escapes me for just a minute. I'm sorry. I'd have to look that up real quick. But he shared some of this, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's, when if you watch the video at one point, I go, that's where I realized the policy snippet was built into the jar file that I shared. And at any rate, then we did the policy and we got a client ID and client secret, and now it is working and everything is as it should be. So that's kind of, the backstory there. And so then we proceeded forward to, as I said, manage it in API Manager. and we added the policies or the policy for client ID enforcement. And that code snippet that I'm referencing is right here. Now we've got a ton of videos. If you pick up on some of those videos for the API lifecycle, you'll see all of this. And so in OAS 3.0, this is what was added previously to that jar file, the jar file itself, as I showed you here. So that was what was actually added in the components. Okay, so we finished out this phase 1 of the life cycle and got that completed. And now we're heading into the next step of the relay. So Max is passing it off over to Cody, because Cody is like the representation, and Astro also, Astro Cody, representation of Salesforce. And then we're going to tag Einstein for Agentforce also. So anyway, here we go. So phase 2, this is the orchestration layer. This is where we're going to do the handshake, I call it, between Anypoint Platform and Salesforce. And that's where we can see this relationship. And you're going to find, as we go deeper into Salesforce, some of the amazing things that happen. When I first started teaching this, we had to do all of this manually. The named and external credentials had to be done manual. And now, as a result of API Catalog, this is just beautifully done for us. And we see the endpoints of our API are going to be listed here in the API Catalog. So we're going to go through this process here in just a few minutes. And then also we're going to see those endpoints as assets in Anypoint or in Flow Builder. So we're going to create some simple flows here. And these flows in turn are going to be what our agent will access in Agentforce. Okay. So that's the game plan. Agentforce will be utilizing some of these in its topics and actions. And actually topics are now called sub-actions. And so, just terminology changes there. Be aware of that. But this is where we're going to go today. So let's get there. So go ahead and have your Anypoint platform logged in. And just a quick check on this. You do want to keep an eye on when this is going to expire. This is why I'm trying to get our Slack portion done sooner than later, because we've got, well, we still have some time though. We've got till on mine. That's why I wanted everyone, when you first started, to be using a brand new trial account. Okay, so you have the full month to work with it. And so you should be in access management there. Then we're going to go to another browser tab. And it's just easier to work tab with, from within the same browser tab back and forth to make this flow a little easier. And we're going to go to developer.salesforce.com. Developer.salesforce.com. And I'll drop that in the chat also for you, because we are going to create a new trial account, or I should say it is a trial account, but it doesn't expire. Okay. So we're going to click on the try it for free or browse trials. Let's do browse trials. That's good. And we'll come down. You should see the developer edition. And if you already have an account, let's see what mine does. If you already have an account and you click on get a developer edition, let's see. Yeah. See how it's not giving me a place to put my name and all that good stuff. All right. So what I want to do, you will see this next screen. So hold on a second. I'm going to go into an incognito window. Say that one fast 3 times. So here we go. And now you're going to see something more similar when you go to get a developer edition. Now it's not picking up on my credentials that I already have an account, and it's going to offer you a place to put your first name, last name, and your email. All right, so let's do this. So go ahead and fill this out. And then we can, I probably want it a little longer. And let me grab an email that I haven't used in a little while. Let me think. Let me try this one. Because if you've already used it, it's just going to tell you to reset your password if it hasn't expired. If it's expired, then it'll give you a new account. But again, these normally don't expire if you log into it, every 30 days, but I would do it every 25 days. I would do it sooner than that. So let's go ahead and sign me up. Oh boy. Let's see if I'm not a robot here. Oh, probably because I'm in an incognito window. That's probably why it did that. Okay, so now it's saying go check your email. And I'm going to hop over to another tab here. And I'm going to check my email. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check my email from here. Let me move this out of the screen for a little bit of privacy. 1 second. And I'll get logged onto that account. Come on. There we go. All right. So getting logged onto that other email account here. All right. So I'll bring this here. And there we go, is our Salesforce Developer Edition. So what we want to do is copy. Oh, it says it did catch me. Looks like you already have one. All right. So copy the username. Okay. And then it should say, in your case, let me see if the old one will say it. No, it's not. Okay. Yours will likely have a button for you to reset your password. All right. So mine did catch me that it says you already have an account, which is fine. I'll reuse that same one as long as it's not, I haven't lost it. So in your notes, be sure to write down, copy your username and password. Excuse me. 1 second. And then I'll go to login. And it should have me here somewhere. I'll try putting that in. I don't know. Try another password here. There we go. Okay. So I am in. You should reset your password. And that way you've got it. Let me jot my password over here also. And then I need to also verify. So there's a verification happening here as well. Let me go get that. Tickle in my throat. I'll tell you what, I can't get rid of this little tickle. It's kind of hanging around. All right, so here is my verification code. I still insist I don't have allergies, but obviously, apparently I do. I guess I may as well bite the bullet and admit that I have them. Hey, Rob, and Sammy's here too. Welcome. Glad to see you here, folks.
Hey. Hi, Rob. Hi, Diane.
Hello. All righty. So now we have a relatively new Salesforce org here. So if this was a previous one, I might have to do some disconnecting of some other accounts that were in here, but that's okay. You're going to get the main idea behind it. So ideally, we're ready to join the two platforms. The left side, we're on Anypoint Platform. And you do, if you haven't gone there yet, you do want to click on the gear at the top. and go to Access Management, which I already did, so I'm already there. But if you haven't done this, go to Access Management. And on the left-hand side, you're going to see Salesforce. Okay, left-hand side, Salesforce. Go ahead and click on Salesforce. And all of this is a brand new trial account, so you will have to go ahead and accept and enable Agentforce. Okay, so click on Accept. So go ahead and click on the Accept the Terms. Read it carefully, send it to your attorneys, make sure you're good. Anyway, accept the terms. That shouldn't be too painful, I hope. And click on Accept. Okay, now it's ready. That's good. We're going to leave this here for just a minute as it is. And then we're going to go to our Salesforce org. So easy, keep them in the same tab so they're very close side by side. And then we're going to come over here to the gear in the upper right in Salesforce. Okay. And come down to Setup. Now we'll see a couple of things we do want to check on the Salesforce side, just in case if they were not already turned on. We want to make sure that Einstein setup is turned on once it loads. Okay, so in the quick find, upper left in the quick find, we want to type in Einstein, E-I-N-S-T-E-I-N. And if you go ahead and do a space and an S for setup, it's going to bring it down to where you can see the Einstein setup. Some accounts get spun up in the past that this was not turned on. So here lately, they have been turned on. So you just want to make sure that it is, in fact, on. Okay. And then the other thing we're going to check up here is we also want to go to Agents. Agents. If I can spell it right, it would work better. Agents. There we go. And we want to click on Agentforce Agents. And notice this is not turned on. Okay. So by default, it is not turned on. We do want to toggle that on. Okay. And we'll be using this later today. All right. So make sure that that is also turned on. Okay. So we'll now go in Salesforce to Anypoint. Anypoint, meaning Anypoint Platform setup. Anypoint Platform setup. Okay. And as I said, this one's already connected. Oh, I see where I connected that at. All right. Yours has probably doesn't have this. Okay. So hang on a minute. Let me remove this connection. I kind of figured I'd have to. I know where that was now. All right. So I'm disconnecting this org that I previously had from another Anypoint Platform account. On the right-hand side now, yours should look like this. Complete the connection. Okay. So go ahead and click on Complete the connection. And a window pops up, and we're going to leave this window open as we navigate from Salesforce over to Anypoint Platform and then Anypoint Platform back. We're going to be going back and forth between the two platforms. The first thing you want to do is you'll see your Salesforce org tenant key. Okay, and we want to copy that. Salesforce org tenant key. Copy that. And we're going to we'll leave that window open, mouse over your Anypoint Platform, mouse over your Anypoint Platform, and click on it. Okay, so now you're on Anypoint Platform. You can tell by the mule icon in the upper left, and we're going to come down here to click on Add Salesforce Org. Add Salesforce Org. And we'll paste in that org tenant key here. Paste it in. And when we paste this in, we're going to go ahead and click on Add. Okay. And when you do, you get another window. And now this is just asking what you're going to call the connection. I generally do SFDC And I'm going to call this one study group. So I remember what I did. And I date things because I do this too many times and I don't remember when I did each one. So I'm going to put today's date. Okay. So there's our study, whatever you want to call it is fine. You could, call it your Salesforce connection or whatever. It's not a big deal. And we'll click on add. Because now I want to point out also that now you have another window. And this other window has been updated with the Anypoint Platform org key. Click on copy for this one. Go ahead and copy that one. And now we're going to go back over to the tab where the Salesforce window is still open. Okay, click on the tab for the Salesforce window. And there is a location down below that you can paste in your Anypoint Platform org ID. Okay, so this window now has the starting Salesforce org key and the Anypoint Platform org ID. And we're going to click on connect. Okay, click on connect. And behind the scenes right now, those two orgs are connecting and associating together. All right. And so here we now have that is now associated with our data relay, or in my case, that's the name of my org over on Anypoint Platform. And we see the results of that connection. Now, before we leave this page, you want to come down to enable Agentforce in Anypoint Platform. Okay, enable Agentforce in Anypoint Platform and go ahead and turn that on. All right. So now we're good. Now there's other things here that we're not going to focus on just yet. There's some really cool stuff happening. There's all kinds. Anytime you see like a new feature, they're constantly changing this stuff right now. It's very exciting of all the changes. But right now our focus is on Agentforce. We're going to use that here. Okay. And this is going to take us back over to Anypoint Platform. There's a few more things we need to do on Anypoint Platform. So over here on Anypoint Platform, we now can close this window. We did get the platform org key, and we can close this window. Okay. And you should have an org name entry here in Anypoint Platform for our Salesforce org. And we want to come over here. It says you do not allow the Salesforce org to import APIs, but we do want to allow. So where this is disabled, you want to toggle that disabled over to where it's enabled. So toggle that over. And when you toggle that over, this window pops up. And now it's saying, oh, hey, you're about to share your stuff. We want to click on continue here. Click on continue. And now it's wanting to know what business group do you want to share or import your APIs from? And we only have one business group in our trial account. You could have set up more. That's not a problem. But the beauty of this is if I have multiple business groups within an Anypoint Platform account, I can choose which business group I want to allow the APIs to be imported from. So you're governing which APIs at a certain level here already. Okay, but ours is just one business group. So we're going to go ahead and click that and save settings. You'll notice another toggle is on here and it says you can use Agentforce. Okay, so by doing this, we allowed that as well. We're not going to do the others, but these are the ones that we want. And I want to also point out that we can add more Salesforce orgs. What if a client has, Sales Cloud and Marketing Cloud and Service Cloud, and you want to be able to have that access from those other platforms as well? You can add multiple Salesforce orgs here. So it is a many to one relationship and a one to many. So this is actually Anypoint Platform. So it's one Anypoint Platform to many Salesforce orgs. Now on the Salesforce side, we can go back there now. Let's go to the Salesforce side. Go back to that tab. And you can only have one Anypoint Platform account per Salesforce. So I can only have one Anypoint Platform here. So I had to delete that other one. I can't have multiple. All right. So everyone got that one? Let me know. Give me a message in the chat. You're good. We have made our connection between the two platforms. And what does this do for us? Let's take a look. Sorry, I'm needing to make sure I'm on the right notes here. I was telling RJ I could go by memory. That's a little scary because it's been a little bit. I do this a lot, but then it's like if you miss one teeny tiny step, we'll be troubleshooting. So I had to make sure I had my trusty notes handy. That's always fun. That probably would have prevented some of the troubleshooting last week. If I had my trusty notes, I would have remembered that we already have the code snippet for the client ID and client secret. Alrighty. So let me bring my notes up to where we have what we need. We did that. And you'll get a copy of these notes. I'm going to do some fine tuning with the notes. I promised that even to the workshop folks. And I'm almost there. RJ's put a lot of them together, which by the way, he's the curriculum developer and video editor and all that behind a lot of this stuff. So we've just about got it ready. All right, so now our next step, if you remember, we tagged that API with SF-API-catalog. So let's go to the API catalog here in our setup under Salesforce, type in API catalog. Okay, let's go there, API catalog. And within API catalog, now we want to enable the synchronization here. But first, let's look at all of the sources. Now, when I first started teaching this, there weren't very many here. I love that I'm seeing more and more sources that we can utilize. We can utilize for API catalog. So we're going to do all sources, but we're actually targeting MuleSoft. So let's go ahead and enable the sync. Click on Enable Sync. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull any of those tagged APIs over into API Catalog. Okay. Now, it doesn't always work. It can be a little pest. We'll refresh this screen, and I'm going to show you some of the troubleshooting tips to make sure you have done everything on your Anypoint Platform account for it to synchronize here. So while we're waiting, and this generally does take a few minutes anyway, we can refresh the page. We can also manage the sync here. Sync is enabled. We know it is connected, so it should be working on it behind the scenes. Look at that. Look at that. Woohoo. It's synchronized. So you can either do a refresh here, you can manage the sync and do it again. Mine is showing. Okay, so mine did synchronize. All right, and that's what you're looking for. If it doesn't show, I'm going to give you a couple troubleshooting tips here that are valuable. Believe me, from troubleshooting this with also the senior instructor that supports even a lot of the course content on this. But anyway, what you want to be sure you have done, of course, the first thing is make sure that you did in fact tag it. Because some people are like, oh yeah, I tagged it, but maybe it got misspelled, or maybe there was some kind of problem with this. Ours was tagged automatically from Anypoint Code Builder. So this is pretty solid here. The other thing you need to make sure is in API Manager that you have added the consumer endpoint, and you add the consumer endpoint here in API Manager, this consumer endpoint. How do we do that? click on the edit icon here. And you want to be sure that you have added the consumer endpoint right there. If you do not add it, then it will not populate over into API Catalog. Okay. Or if you add it in Exchange, there is a place you can add this in Exchange. It doesn't always populate if you add it in Exchange. The location where you can add it in Exchange is in the API instances on the bottom left. You could add it here, but it doesn't always trigger adding it in API Catalog. So my recommendation is add it through API Manager. So there's some troubleshooting tips for you. Okay. So moving forward, we now have in API Catalog, if there were multiple APIs that were listed in our Anypoint Platform Exchange that were tagged, there'd be a whole list of them here. We'd see all of them, and they would all be inactive until you activated them. So again, excuse me for just 1 second. Pause for one moment. All right. Had to take a quick commercial break. No, actually, my dog was whining out back, and he's pathetic when he whines, so I had to let him in. All right. So we now have our API here, and we are ready to activate this one. Again, if there were multiple, you choose the one that you would want to activate. And this is what happens, as we are going through on the, making these active here. So we're going to activate this. And so we can, there's do on the far right of this page of the list, we're going to activate the actions. Okay, activate the actions. All right, so now we have an API that we're about to activate to utilize its endpoints here in Salesforce. And so we see the version number of it, and you also can see that consumer endpoint is listed here, and the authentication is client ID and client secret. So we're going to click on the little button next to the version, and we're going to come down and click on Create and Continue. Okay, Create and Continue. And so now it's actually creating that connection. And we also need to make sure that we grant access. So there's, again, all these different governance things I'm kind of sharing is different ways in which you are protecting whatever APIs you have and, what you want to allow usage. So we have chosen this customer order system API, and now we're going to grant access to it in Salesforce. So click on Manage User Assignments. Okay, and now we're in the permission sets of Salesforce for that given API. See it? There's our API. And we want to manage the assignments. Manage assignments, kind of middle of the screen there. Manage assignments. And as we go and add the users that we're going to allow, click on Add Assignment on the far right. Add Assignment. And we'll find our account is listed here. Okay. And another one is going to be, we're going to use an automated account. If you just type auto here and let it search, there's an automated process. And then we also want to do Einstein. Okay, Einstein. So there should be an Einstein, not showing yet. Okay, we're going to let that sit for a minute then. Where is that? Yeah, didn't get the Einstein one. Okay, we'll come back to that one. It's actually in our notes to do it a little bit later. But let's go, and we should have two. If we go to next, we should have that automated process, and also, I know why the Einstein isn't showing. It just hit me because we haven't activated and created an agent yet. So anyway, the automated process is showing and our name is showing. So we're adding us as users to the permission set for that system API. And we'll click on assign. All right. So we have those two taken care of, and now they are successfully part of that permission set. Now we're done here. Come down to the bottom right. For now, we're done here. And now we're going to go ahead and just close this tab. Go to the top, close this tab, and the previous tab should still be open to allow access to the connection. And now we're going to proceed and go to next. Proceed and go to next. All right. So now we're able to see the 4 endpoints that we have from our API. We've got post orders, get orders by ID, or patch the orders. And the only two we're going to allow the agents to use, and even in Flow, are the 2 get methods. Okay, the 2 get methods. That's the only 2 we're going to allow. So again, I want to point out governance. You're only activating the endpoints that you want Salesforce to use. Now, I could open them all up. I could do post and patch and all that. But I want to point out how you have, again, governance to control what is actually being available. All right. So we chose the 2 gets, and we're going to click on done. And it's creating that connection. And we'll go to, I'm not sure what this is about, but we did get a setup complete. So we can go ahead and close this box here and open up the API name again. And now we should be able to see the different endpoints that it has and what's available here. Operations available, see that there are some activated, some are not activated. All right, so we're good to go. Now we can use these endpoints in Salesforce Flow Builder. Okay, so let's go create a few flows. So in the quick find up here in the upper left, let's type in flows. Flows. And we're going to go to process automation flows. Process automation flows. Now, this is some of the really cool part. When we go in here and we are going to start a new flow. Okay, so we're going to create a brand new flow. Go ahead and click on this. And FYI, those of you who may not know very much about Salesforce, by default, these are flows that have been created for us. Okay, so there's a lot of things here that are already pre-built out that can be used. Okay. And so FYI, there are some flows here. Now, some of them may replicate what we're doing. There is a get orders flow here. Get orders by order number. There's some pre-built things, but we're going to make our own. Okay. You could use those, but I'm just saying, I want you to see the raw flow created here. All right. So let's click on new flow. New flow. And the type of flow we're going to have the agent use is an auto-launched flow. Okay. It's considered to be an auto-launched flow. No trigger. Auto-launched, no trigger. Let's go ahead and click that. All right. Now, FYI, today our timeline is we're going to go the full 90 minutes that we normally do. Last week, we needed to do an hour because of scheduling conflicts. But today we'll go till on Eastern time zone, 1:30. We will have a hard stop at 1:30, and wherever we get at that point, we will pick up in our next session and cover that. We should be able to get it all, but I'm not going to be rushed and slide in sideways like we did before. So we're going to kind of take it slow and steady on this. All right. So what we have here is an auto launch flow. We're ready to get started. So we're going to go ahead and click on the plus sign here to add an element. And these are the different elements that can be used to add your flow, build out your flow. There's some great trailheads and classes to learn more on this, but we're going to click on the action. Okay, click on the action. Now the action is going to open up and allow us to choose, what we want to connect to an action. What are we going to do? And so here you can see there are external services. And what was created was an external service. Go ahead and click on that external service. What has been created is an external service for our customer order system API. If we click on the far right here to open this up, you'll see the two different endpoints that we selected to be activated, being the retrieve order by ID and retrieve all orders. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on retrieve orders, meaning all of the orders. Okay, go ahead and click on retrieve orders. Now the label for this is going to be get all orders. Get all orders. And when you, that's just the label that's going on the element. And then we're going to come down here and it says set your API connection. And if for some reason that is not filled out, you do want to do the drop down and make sure that it is selected. Okay. And then we're going to come down to manually assign variables. Okay, manually assign variables. So we're going to click on this box for manually assign variables. And the way that the connections work in Salesforce like this are going to show the 200 response. So I want you to imagine that when this flow runs, it's going to go reach out and invoke the get all orders endpoint. When it returns the data back, the response, it should be a 200 response code. Okay. And that's what we are configuring here. What will that 200 response look like? Okay. So now we need to define what this response is going to be, and we're going to create a new resource here. So click on new resource. Okay, so it's going to be a variable. So click on variable. And the name of the variable is going to be all orders. All orders. Okay, that's the name of our variable. All orders. Now here's where it gets impressive, because now we need to define the data type. Okay. So think about it. You're getting all of the orders back from your API. So we want to use an Apex defined data type, because when we made this connection with this API and activated this API, an Apex class was created as a result of our API. So if I start typing external here, I see external service. I see that there are different data types defined here. Order, order item, order summary. Okay, see them? They are Apex external service classes, or I should say, let me reword that. They are an external service from our API that is now there has been created an Apex class for our order summary. Okay. So this is available now as a result of our API and that relationship when it was brought in. The external service generated this Apex class. All right. So are we getting one order or many orders? If we say all orders, are we getting a lot of them or just one? What do y'all think? One or many? You can put it in the chat.
Many?
Many, that's right. So we want to allow multiple values here. It's not just one. We want to allow multiple values. And we also want it over here on the bottom left to be available for output so the agent can use this data. We're going to set this up for the agent to use it. So, quick review, it is a new variable for our flow. We're calling it all orders. It is apex defined using the order summary, and we're allowing, it has multiple values because it's going to be a collection, and it is available for output. And we'll click on done. Okay. All right. So all is good there. Now this alone, we can run this. We can, first of all, let's save it. We haven't even saved any of this. Let's go ahead and save in the upper right here. Let's do save. And, oh, I need to call this a certain thing. Let me find our names for it. 1 second. And, okay. This is pretty important. And RJ, we need to add this. We need to call this flow the name that we have in our specification. See how this is get all orders and then get order by ID. Well, this is our instructions for our agent that we put in our specification. So we need to call this flow that same name. Okay, so it's going to be get all orders, get all orders. And when you click out of that box, it'll put the API name here. And this needs to match our instructions because we're telling it to invoke this particular flow, right? So we have get all orders, and we'll click on save. Okay. So now we have saved it. And let's make sure that it, and see, it did not, it did not add that variable in our 200 down here. So let's come back and click that. That does happen sometimes. So you want to watch out for this. And we do want to save it. It's okay. It's jumping the version up. I don't mind that so much, but I do want to make sure. Why are you not saving that there? What's the tip? Oh, yeah. Save. Yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes it doesn't keep them there. It's not doing it again. Let me refresh my page. Oh, troubleshooting. You just got to love troubleshooting. It'll do this sometimes. It's so weird. There it is. Now it's sticking. I don't know why it didn't stick before, but you should have all orders here. Okay. So let's debug it. Let's run it in debug mode. And another thing that this is called when it runs in debug mode, they are called an interview. So we're going to run it. It doesn't have any input values. So it should go out and get a list of all of the orders from our database, from that endpoint. So you should be getting all of these orders and everything is looking good. We didn't have any errors here. So I'm happy with the results here. Okay. So this is fine. Now, I could go ahead and activate it. However, one thing I have found out on the Agentforce side, and I don't know why that it's doing this, but when we actually build out an agent, it's going to require, even if it's not used, some kind of a resource for input. Now, again, I've got to research this a little bit more of why it requires this, but we're going to go ahead and add another resource here. So let's go back to edit flow, even though we're not going to use this right now. We might use this later, but in the, for this flow in the toolbox in the upper left, we're going to click on toggle toolbox. And on the toolbox up here, we're going to add a new resource. Okay. So here's our output, our resource for all our orders. And this is the element that we added. We're going to add another resource here. And this resource is going to be called, hang on, I'm getting my notes caught up here. Just so I don't mess up. It's going to be a variable. Let's do the variable. And the name of it is going to be status. I think I called it status, isn't it? Yeah, order status. Okay. We won't really actually use this, but we are going to create it. When we get to the Agentforce part, I'll show you why. Okay. Because I got an error and hit a brick wall without having some kind of an input defined here. All right. So we're going to call it order status. And then we're going to drop down to order type. And it is going to be a text. I'm sorry, the data type is going to be text. And this is good. It's only one item. We're not going to allow multiples. And it is available for input. All right. So we're defining that this would be an order status input. Again, quick review. It is a variable type. It is the name of it is order status. It is data type text, and it is available for input. And click done. All right, so now we have an additional input value here. It still runs as the same as it was. It doesn't require that. We can go ahead and save here in the upper right. And just to save time, you could debug it and test it, but just to save some time, we'll go ahead and activate it. We know we are hitting our endpoint. We're getting that information. So life is good. Okay, life is good. So that one is active. Now, so what this means is this is one of the flows that is available that we're going to have our agent use. All right. We're going to have our agent use. So we're going to go ahead and close this. And I want you also to remember that all we're getting back from this is a big list of orders. We didn't filter anything here. You could, it absolutely could, but I'm doing this purposely to really help you to see the power of Agentforce Atlas Reasoning Engine. Okay, so let's go to flows. We're going to add another flow. Same thing. I'm going to move a little bit quicker on this one. It's going to be another auto launch flow. And we're also going to click on the plus to add an element here. It is going to be an action. And we're going to go ahead and click on our external services once again, do the drop down. And this time we're doing retrieve order by ID. By ID. Now we want to filter and get a specific order. Okay. Specific order. And the label of this one, get order by order ID. All right, and that's just the name of this particular element. Make sure that it did find your connection here. And now for the order ID. Okay, we need to create a resource for this. Okay, so it's going to be a resource, so we can click on new resource. You can also have added it before we did the flow. Either way, works the same. New resource. Okay, and is going to be a variable. The name of our variable is order ID. Order ID. And it is going to be a text type. It is available for input. Okay, so we're going to be passing in a value of an order ID so that our endpoint is going to get that particular order. Okay, it'll get that particular order. So quick review here, we have the variable is called order ID. It is a text type and it is available for input. That's it. And click done. Okay, now that should stick here. So watch to make sure when we go to save this, that it is staying there also. We'll double check that. All right. And then we're going to come down here to our response again. Come all the way down. We're going to click on manually assign variables. And again, remember, we're now getting the get order by ID, and we're going to be getting back a response of that particular order. And we're going to click on new resource. new resource. And in here is going to be a variable. And it is going to be called selected order. Selected order. And now it is going to be using the Apex defined. Okay. And we'll come down to our Apex class. And if you start typing external, okay, you're going to see the order. Okay, the order. You'll see the order. And this one is going to be a single item, and it is available for output. Okay, so we have our variable. We have named it selected order, Apex defined, and we have chosen the Apex class order, and it's available for output. And we can click on done. Done. All righty. So we shall save this. Okay, we shall save this. And the name of this one, let me grab it really quick because it needs to match what we have in our specification. And it will be get order by order ID for the action on this. Okay, get order by order ID. Get, and I want to make sure I got it spelled right. Yeah, get order by order ID. Okay, so be sure to copy it exact so it matches our specification. Oops. There we go. Okay, so and all of that is in our snip or in our code share that we had shared out before. I can also put that in the chat for you. Everybody okay?
Very good here.
Okay, just checking on you. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and save this. And once it's saved, yeah, notice it didn't hold them. See the error mine through? I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have our order ID. Come down here for the selected order. Try to save it again. Make sure that it sticks. I don't know what the little buggy thing is that is doing that. Mine is not saving them. So refreshing the page is the way to go. Aha, order ID is there, selected order is there. Now what we need to do is we need to test out getting one order. So I'm going to hop over and I'll grab a, let me get it from here. This is probably going to be the best. Get all orders. Let me run it in debug mode real quick. And this can be, notice you'll have an input variable. You can just put anything there. It doesn't matter. And we'll run it. Because what I'm after is a real order number. Okay. So in here, we have a real order number. If you want to just go through where the order numbers are, and I'll put this in the chat for you also to get a real order. So we can test it. Because if the order number is invalid, then you're not going to get anything back. So let's now go back to the get order by order ID. We'll run it in debug mode. We'll go ahead and put a real order number here because it's actually going to be looking on the database for that, and we'll click run. Okay, so that real order ID is in there, and now we should find that we got one order back successfully. Okay. So life is good. Everything is working as it should. And we will click activate, upper right, activate. All righty. So now our flows are built. We have 2 flows that we want our agents to use. Okay. So now we're going to transition over into Agentforce. All right. We're going to go create our agent. And those, like I said, those Orders are now available. If we look at the list of flows, they're going to be listed here. Let me refresh the page. Okay, and order by ID. That's the one we created, and get all orders right there. You can also see your name is associated with them, so you can find out where they are. Those are the two that we want our agent to use. All right, so now let's go over to our agents. So over here on the quick find, type in agent, agents. If you do plural, it filters it down to Agentforce agents, Agentforce agents. All right. And on this page, we already turned the Agentforce on, and we're going to click on a new agent here, new agent. Now you can start with a template that has a lot of actions already added to it. I'm going to strip ours down so that you really see what you built and what the agent is going to use. Okay. So we're going to click create from a template. That's okay. And we want to come down to a service agent, Agentforce Service Agent. And we'll click on next. All right. Now, these are subagents, or they're formerly called topics, that have automatically been added. Okay. And they come with different functionality. So we're going to go ahead and remove these automatic subagents or topics that have been added. And the only two we want to leave is delivery issues and escalation. All right, so let's take all, if you click it, it removes it from the template. So click those, leave delivery issues, that's fine. Escalation is fine. And we'll remove everything else. Okay. There's a really cool one here called customer service verification. So that would actually validate, a customer, which would be great to do, but not for our use case. We're just doing it. We want to keep it simple to show you the functionality. And we can always add them back or do something different. All right. So the two that we have, like I said, is delivery issues and escalation. And we're going to come to the upper right and we're going to click on next. All right, now this is where we can start to provide information for this agent and what it's going to do. So we're going to now go to our code share for the agent. The code share for the agent. Excuse me, 1 second. All right. So go to your code share and we're going to copy and paste certain things over. Now, what you can do is go ahead and do a copy of all of this and paste it into a notepad somewhere where you can get this easily. And I say that because you probably want to keep this. Why? It's a great example. It's a great example of the details and instructions that you might want to use for other agents. Okay, kind of model after this. This is a great example. And I don't take credit for it. It's not my example. I've actually pulled some details from other agents that I really liked, the way it governed it, the way it gives step-by-step instructions for the agent, because it's all about governing this agent. Okay. So our service agent is, we're going to change the name here. So in order to change the name, you have to remove the API name first so that it will populate the new name. So over here under the name, we're going to change this to customer order agent. Customer order agent. Okay. And when you click out of that box, notice it adds it as the API name. Then you want to come over here and we're going to copy the description. And those of you that were in the workshop, I have updated some of this, FYI. So it might be a little bit different in a few areas. Okay. All right, so the description, we're going to paste this in here also. And then also the role, its role. We start defining what this agent is going to do, okay? Its role. There we go. And then finally, we want to provide a little information about the company. So let's go ahead and copy this here as well. And we'll paste this in there. Oh, that's right. This one's over the limit. I need to make sure I change that. It's over the limit by 2 characters. Let's take the last 2 characters out. That way we still have mostly everything. Okay. Just take 2 characters out. And now notice an agent user. There's going to be a new agent user created. Okay. And that is when I was saying, oh, let's add the agent, also. And I searched for Einstein real quick. Well, it hadn't created, or I hadn't associated this yet. So a new agent user is going to be created here. Okay. And so we're going to click on next. So quick review, we named it. We've added the description, role, and company. And we also left the agent user. And we did click this box that says, keep a record of conversations with enhanced event logs. Click on next. Now it's telling us to turn on Data Cloud. We don't need that to do what we need to do here. Click on Create. And we're coming up to the last 15 minutes. We'll get as far as we can without rushing too much. And then, like I said, I'll start off part 3 with, I'll start part 3 with finishing this up if we don't get this completed. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to look for, something here under the sub agent. So we now see that we have our agent. This is our agent that we're working on, and it has some sub agents here. Now let's add to the sub agents or topics. And I want to see if, let's peek at the add from asset library. Add from asset library. All right. And there are several things that are here by default that we could use. Okay. So these are available for us. What we need ours to do is not here. So we're going to create a new asset. So we're going to click on new sub agent or new topic. And we're going to start defining this. The first thing is, what do you want it to do? It's optional. So we're just going to click on next. Okay. Now here's where we start to really get very detailed about what we want our agent to do. So in the next category is our order management topic or sub-agent. So let's go ahead and copy in order management. Okay, click out of the box there. Now we also need to define the description. Okay, so let's bring the description over. And we're going to say this topic is designed to retrieve customer orders, display order details. So we're telling it what its description is. And again, the scope. Now here's where we're being very detailed. We're saying your job, we're telling the agent, your job is to retrieve customer orders, display the orders, explain. It is only for viewing and reviewing order information. Okay, so we're really being detailed now. We're giving it its scope. You cannot add an order. You cannot delete an order. None of that's here. We say it's for viewing and reviewing order information. Now we're going to start in on the instructions. This is very important. Okay, so this is where we say, first instruction. I've got 11 different instructions. Maybe we don't need to use that many, but maybe we can compound some of them. If the user asks to list, search, display, run the get all orders action. Okay, that was one of our actions that we have. Add more instructions. If they ask about a specific order, we want it to run the get order by order ID. right? Add instructions. And then we also want to, again, there's like 11 different instructions here. If you read through them, just go ahead and populate each one of them over. When you read through them, they will make sense to you as we go. Okay, now this is the topic. We are going to define actions under this topic in just a few minutes here. So you're going to have some actions under this topic. All right, so just keep, like I said, go down the whole list. And if next action is to escalate to a human, there's actions you can take there. All right, so we're coming on down the line here. I think I'm about there. Never expose backend information fields. In other words, we're telling it to be secure, right? So that's important. Do not create. Here comes number 10 is do not. There's the do not create, modify, cancel, refund, or delete orders. It is read only. And number 11, if they want to modify, cancel, refund, etc. Nope. Okay. And now we'll go to next. Next. So we're giving it very detailed instructions here. Very detailed instructions. And there are 2 actions here listed in orange. Now, you could do this one of 2 ways. We're going to test this out because I see where we're at on time. These, I believe, have populated from our flows. Okay. I believe they made a populated from our flows. Let's go ahead and click on both of these to add them to the actions, although they're not named right. That's not going to work. They're not named right. Okay. We're not going to select them. Our instructions don't match that. All right. So we're going with our plan. Click on finish. Click on finish. Don't select them. Do not select them. Click on finish. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to create the actions for that sub-agent or topic. Okay, so click back onto the order management. Order management. And in the upper right, you're going to see this sub-agent's actions. Okay, this sub-agent's actions. And here's where we're going to create a new action for that sub-agent or topic. And the reference type we're going to do, the first one we'll do, click on the select a type of action, and it's going to be our flow we created. Our flow. Okay. Click on our flow. And then from here, the reference action is, there we go, get all orders. Now that is where it's going to match the name in our instructions, get all orders. So our agent action label is going to be get all orders, and that's when it'll know to run that particular flow and go to next because we've given it instructions to do so. All right, so back to our supporting code here. Now you're in where we're going to add the descriptions here. Okay, so we have description for this get all orders. And the loading text here, you can put whatever you want for loading text, like hang on, I'll be right back, or I'm gathering the information. So I'm going to say gathering all orders. So this is a little text that pops up when the agent is doing something. Okay. Now, remember I said I would point it out when we got there that there is a input field in the agent, and I have had where this had nothing here because we didn't need one, but this requires one. So it's kind of odd. I don't know why that it is doing this, but we don't want it to, we're just do collect data from user. It's not a required input. Okay, so we're not going to be real strict about this here. And then on the all orders on the right, our output is going to, we're going to have also our output here, returns customer orders matching the requested status, but we really aren't doing a status. And this one is going to be show in conversation. Okay, so quick review. We've added the description. We have gathering all orders. We have defined a status, but it's just collect data from user. We're not requiring that. And then we have the description here. And we want to show that we want the agent to show the output in conversation, and we'll click on finish. All right. One more. All right. So the next one, now it's listed here as an action under this sub agent. And in our instructions, we said, if they say they want orders, you're going to run that. We're going to do the second one, create another one. And this one is called, it's also a flow. And this one is get order by order ID. Okay, get order by order ID, go to next. And again, we're going to copy our description. There it goes. And loading text is fetching. You can put whatever you want. You can make it be silly if you want. I'm going to put fetching the order. All right. Now we have the order ID, and this is the unique order identifier. So let's go ahead and paste this over into here. And this is a required input. Okay. So this one does matter. You have to have that one. So that is a required input. All righty. And for the output, this is going to be returns detailed customer order. Boom, and show in conversation. Again, quick review. We've given the description, gave it the loading text, description on the input, require that input, and also the output is show in conversation. We can click on finish. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So now you have two actions under this topic. Now this is where we're going to go back over to the permission set to allow the Einstein. We want to give the Einstein service user all right, wait a minute. I'll get it right. Hold on. It's called the Einstein Service Agent user. There we go. Goodness. And so this is going to be added. So we want to go back, leave this window open because you're in Flow Agentforce Builder. And let's go back to one of our other tabs at the top and do a search for permission sets. Permission sets. And on here is where we're going to come back in and locate our order. So we should go to customer orders, probably the C's. Let's go to the C's. Customer orders API. There it is. Customer orders SAPI. Let's go ahead and click on that. And here at the top, we have, again, we're in that same place we were before, manage assignments. Okay. And under add assignment this time, we're going to, oh, there it is, Einstein Service Agent user. Okay. That was not there before because I would have added it. And I was like, oh, yeah, we hadn't even activated it yet. So this got added when we were creating that agent. And so we want it to have access to this API as well. So click on it and add it. And now we're going to assign it. Okay. And then click on done. And you should see the three: us, automated process, and Einstein Service Agent user. Okay. So we are ready to test this. My goodness, 2 minutes. Hold on a minute. Let me make sure we've got this. Yeah. We did. We got all that. Okay. So let's go back to Agentforce Builder, refresh this page, And we don't need to activate it just yet. Let's go ahead and start talking to our agent here and see if we can get him to pull all orders. So we'll say, hello, I would like a list of all the customer orders. Boom. All right, so let's see what it says. If it's actually locating there, gathering all orders. That's what I told it to say. So here come those orders. There's all the orders. Woohoo! Okay, so we scroll down. There's more, so we can see more. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you the power of the Atlas Reasoning Agent. Okay, and what this will do is allow you to see, let's say, okay, of all orders, show me the escalated orders. Oh, I misspelled it. You better spell it right. Escalated orders. Okay, so remember on our flow, we do not have any filtering on that flow. However, it just now brought me all of the escalated orders. It filtered. See how it filtered? That's the Atlas Reasoning Agent. It filtered based on what I asked it. Okay. Show, whoops. Now show me all orders that are shipped. Now you can have fun with this now that you're this far. I want you to play around with this and what you can do. So there's all the shipped ones. You can even ask it who spent more. Who spent more in all orders? Leah, Luke, or Leah. We did this in class. I'm misspelling Leah. Oh, how do we spell it? Lehaah. There we go. Let's see if it'll do this. We did this at one of our gatherings and it worked. There you go. That cracks me up. I'm telling you. All right. So the agent is doing all of this, right? And now I can say, well, bring me order, and we'll get order number here. And I know we're at time, but we did get it done. We got it done. Bring me order number or ID. Now you go and play with this today more. And I want you to try to have it do things that you don't want it to do. I'm going to say delete this order. Delete this order. Okay. And once, look, I'm unable to do it. Okay, cool. Very good. That's what we want. We want it to say, sorry, can't help you. When you're finished playing around with it, activate it. And that's, hey, we finished it. We're ready for the next part. Amazing.
Good job. Very good job. Excellent. I didn't have anything.
Gosh.
There's nothing to edit out. I don't have to take anything out. That was awesome.
Hard to believe.
I know. That was really good. Good work. Good job. Now you're just communicating with it just like a large LLM and asking it things.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
For sure. For sure.
Excellent. I know you've got a hard stop. Sounds like
I do. You guys hang out and visit and talk. RJ, share whatever you'd like.
As always, I'll close it out. I'll let you go so you can go handle that, and we'll close things out. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the Slack part. We're going to call it part 3, even though it was part 4.
Yeah.
Yep. In Chicago, it was different. So yeah, we'll get it sorted out. Awesome.
For sure. We can do it. We can call it whatever we want, right?
That's
but
right.
Yeah, I do need to drop for a meeting, folks. Appreciate you all. Hang out
good.
and visit with RJ, and I will see you again soon.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, as always, I'd just like to let you all know what's going on as much as I know. This is what I know. So next week we're going to have Arvind coming and presenting. He's working on what he's presenting on. He's got a topic and he's just getting it together. So once I know, then you all will know. I'll send it out as I always do, and we'll just go from there. I'm looking forward to it. Then that's it. So yeah, we'll just really appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you, for being here and contributing as always. We thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording and just everybody can do whatever they want to do. If you've got anything further to add, we'll go from there.